And now back to the Trump presidency. Margaret Brennan, the host of Face the Nation, joins us now from Washington. And Margaret, there's a lot of talk about, let's begin with the Mueller investigation. The president continues to go after the special counsel on Twitter, but is there any reason to believe he might push to have him fired following the guilty plea of his former personal attorney, Michael Cohen?
Well, the president has, said to members of Congress that he has no intention of firing the special counsel, and that has led Republican leader Mitch McConnell to say he doesn't want to have any kind of vote on this proposed legislation to protect the special counsel, basically prevent him from being fired. But this has led to a showdown on Capitol Hill. You've got Republican Senator Jeff Flake, who's about to retire, saying, listen, I got nothing to lose. I'm going to take a stand on this, and refuse to confirm all these Republican judges who are being supposed to be voted on, and say, I'm going to use that leverage in order to force a vote on how to protect the special counsel. He says because of things that happened this week, like this revelation that the president's personal attorney, Michael Cohen, lied to Congress on top of his other crimes, and that the fact that there is no attorney general right now because Jeff Sessions was forced out by the president due to his views on the Russia probe, all of that adds up to the need for the legislation. And so that is why he's coming on the show to explain that, because he's taking a lot of fire from fellow Republicans who say this is just grandstanding and ultimately about his own bid in 2020 to challenge President Trump for the presidency, potentially. So some of that will be talked about this Sunday, along with Senator Mark Warner, who's the ranking member on the Intelligence Committee, one of those groups who says they are handing over testimony like that of Michael Cohen to Robert Mueller, because they are finding that some of what people say under oath is not matching the facts that are being found out as the special counsel undertakes this investigation.
Margaret, the president is in Argentina tonight attending the G20 summit, and of course he's attending a number of high-stakes meetings. What are you watching for?
Tomorrow, the meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and President Trump is arguably the most consequential part of this entire summit. There's a lot of focus on what may or may not happen with Vladimir Putin and the showdown with the Saudi leadership, but really what will matter to the American economy and national security is what happens in this meeting between the two leaders. These are the world's largest economies locked in an escalating trade dispute that will have major implications for American manufacturing and agriculture, and arguably for national security, because of the need to have China involved in disarming North Korea, something that is stalled at the moment. So much to talk about there, and we're going to have Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on the program this Sunday to answer some of those questions.
Major implications involved here. Margaret, thank you very much for joining us live from Washington, D.C.
And join Margaret for Face the Nation Sunday morning at 10:30 right here on CBS 4.